If you're a big fan of Fargo, I totally recommend seeing Nebraska, because I really liked Nebraska. It was a really family, dysfunctional, but you love them type movie. Same director as The Descendants, which I really like that movie. And I can tell it has that same sentimental, like deep family root kind of movie where it hits home. And yeah, let's talk about it. This is the movie Nebraska. So the first thing, of course, everyone probably noticed about this movie is that it is in black and white. And I can really appreciate that. It's not, black and white isn't done the same way as it was before. It's barely utilized. But it definitely took advantage of it. It became like a character in this movie. You kind of got used to the black and white, but it just made it different. It made this movie stand out to me, even though it didn't completely utilize like the lighting, because I feel like that was the whole point of using black and white back in the day. You just have like, you can see the contrast, like the shadows, like you just take advantage of lighting and to make the black and white pop, as weird as that sounds. But a lot of the scenes in this movie seem kind of like washed out. There wasn't too much contrast in it. I don't know if that was the purpose because they're in Nebraska and nothing much is going on, and like it was just kind of like, it was very gray. It wasn't black and white. There was a lot of grayness, but it was also beautiful, and maybe that was the purpose of it. But I did like that it took a different route and it didn't, you know, do it in color. And I really appreciated it. Yeah, I appreciated it a lot, and it makes this movie stand out. And of course, this movie is called Nebraska, and the setting itself is like its own character. Like the people in it are just kind of sitting there like real like old country folk, and they're so quirky, and the dialogue is really great. You know, there's not much going on, but there's like the beauty and the simplicity of it all, and it's really cool. Like Nebraska, all you think about is corn. Like, what's happening in Nebraska? Not much. But what happens is, like, there's families there. There's families that live there, and you just get to watch them and their dynamics. And even though they'll just sit in front of the TV and not talk a bit, and maybe they'll talk about their trucks or something, what kind of car do you have, kind of thing. But the dialogue is great, even though it's very little sometimes. But I really enjoyed this family. And this movie is basically about an old father who's old, and he gets a letter in the mail saying he has won $1 million and has to return it to claim his prize. And so he's always walking and, you know, just escaping to get to Lincoln, the city, to pick up his money. And no one believes him, and actually it's kind of a scam. It's just one of those like magazine subscription things where, you know, like he could win and no one believes him, but this old man is determined to pick up his $1 million. And of course, since it's such a small town, everyone kind of thinks he's won $1 million. It's a lot of old people in this movie, they don't know the difference. But we also just learn more about the main character himself and how he's kind of like, he's older and he's kind of spaced out. He's a drinker, and his sons and his wife know it, and they kind of, you know, they keep reminding him that he wasn't the best father. But you learn more about him, and he, like everyone in this movie has their own little like unique quirks to them, and they're not perfect, but they're still good people at heart. And the main character might not have been the best husband, father, or reliable friend at the end of the day, but he was a good person, and he, you know, he could barely say no to anyone, and it kind of got him in trouble sometimes. And he drank because, you know, there was nothing else to do in Nebraska, but he really cared about him and the whole entire family, and it was so heartfelt. Just like Descendants, this movie had a lot of heart to it. Just the black and white Nebraska, it stands out. I really enjoyed it. And it makes you really appreciate your family, no matter how dysfunctional they are, no matter how imperfect they are. At the end of the day, you gotta look out for each other, and you gotta see past the flaws, and you gotta just love them for who they are, because you wouldn't be here without them. So Nebraska, 2 thumbs up on this one. Really enjoyed it. I could probably watch it 3 more times. It's something you can watch over and over again. Check out Nebraska.